This is the Blank Dive Show. For creators who don't wait for clarity, they move anyway. This isn't about perfection. It's pressure, doubt, deadlines, and building something real with limited resources. It's about momentum when motivation runs out, mindset when the noise gets loud, and making the work, especially when it's uncomfortable. Through raw conversations with filmmakers, writers, musicians, artists, and curators, we talk about showing up, breaking barriers, and turning ideas into action. This is the dive into the unknown, no permission, no safety net, just the work.
Yo.
What up? What up?
Episode 5. We made
it, man.
We made it to the 5, guys. How's it feel?
Yeah. Good.
Pretty good.
We thank you guys
Sure.
for watching. And tonight we are going to be diving into the topic of the almighty question: what is art?
For sure.
All right, so I just got to hear from both of you. What do you think art is? What is it? What is this thing?
I mean, my point of view on art is it's constantly changing. Art is constantly changing. It's an expression of ourselves, but constantly changing, just like we are. I'll share something real quick. You know, if I look at just my music that I create from back then, and then I listen to it now, I'm like, it throws me off because I'm like, I personally don't like it anymore. And then if I turn the music on that I create now, I love it because it's who I am today. I guess they're both really good in their own ways, because one tells a story of my past and one's telling a story of my present. So I do believe it's an expression of ourselves, but I also believe, art is constantly changing. Yeah, that's my answer.
I like that.
That's my opinion.
For me, my beard is art. It's a work of
It is
art.
a sexy beard. It's pretty smooth.
But I would say what I gathered up, it's telling a story or delivering a message somewhere in between that. If that makes sense.
Okay. You see, I agree. I do agree with that. There's, I guess, no right or wrong answer. To me, like, there's a lot of systems that we trust out there, like law, science, math. There's an answer to the question. Yet I don't believe art has a boundary. There are no limits. There's no right or wrong answers, because I may do something with great intention, yet the way audiences receive that is entirely different. What I put into the work, what effort I put in the work, it might be meaningless to me. Like, I've literally seen people put like practical jokes, like on like funny channels, where they'll go to art exhibits and they'll put a shoe on display, or they'll put a blank canvas on display, and there literally will be people in the audience pondering in front of someone's sneaker, and they'll be like really like and like interpreting like this was a man who walked his whole life, and he left it all behind. Like, they have the whole story made up in their mind. I don't know how many people, and this goes back to even myself. Like, I do splatter art during like barbecues and parties with friends, where they grab like a color of paint and they throw it on a canvas, and I have my living room kind of decked out in that type of art. And I don't know how many people that come over for the very first time, they're drawn to these meaningless kind of paintings on the wall.
They are nice.
They're looking at them and they're like, I think I see a dog. I think I see like a star in the sky. Like, they're like giving their own story behind things that I didn't intend. And you know what I tell them? That's exactly what I meant. So they're looking at these things like, So, and that's, I think, the exciting thing about what art is it can mean something so different for someone else. And
Absolutely.
that's the exciting part of it, because, like, I don't know, we were talking a little bit before this, and the idea of music, how art has changed over the years. And you were just bringing it up, Danny, about like generational. You know,
Yeah.
I like hip hop, I like R&B, rock music, but if you've ever listened to stuff like now, it's so much different than when I was growing up. Not saying it's bad. I don't want to sound like the unk on this channel,
Yeah.
but it's different. The songs are
No,
shorter.
absolutely.
In my opinion, they don't have as much effort put behind them, but they're speaking to a generation that like understands it, and they
Yeah.
like it as much as our Tupacs back then, or the
Yeah.
Nas. You know what I mean? They're looking at it now like, yeah, this is it. So like, am I just out of touch, or am I not seeing you know, the emotional merit that they feel behind this music? I don't know.
I
No,
totally
Ben.
agree because it's I listened to some of the music too, and I'm like, at first I was mad. I was like, dang, why don't they rap like us no more, like how they used to back in the day? And then now I'm like, maybe they're trying to get that message out, and it will turn or form into something new. So I had to have an open mind still. I can make jokes and stuff still, like how they dance and stuff, little crazy moves.
Yeah,
But it's like, just let them rock. I'll leave them alone. And then,
times change, you know.
yeah, times change.
That's what it is. It really is too. It's, I mean, I can't really say it any better. It's like, it's hard to, like, look at what we grew up with, and then you look at the music that comes out now. I mean, it's working for them. Just like back then, it worked for, all the older artists. It worked for them. And now this is the new fashion and new design of music, in this generation. And I guess it's working for them, so let them rip.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a thing too. We talk about music, we talk about film a lot, but everything that we do, how we identify. I mean, Afro Benny's glorious bonnet is a form of art. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And it's probably on
My
display somewhere.
yeah,
Benny Bonnet.
That's
Benny
it.
Bonnets. But I'm
That's
saying
it.
you never like everything that we do, the way we kind of dress, the way, our style, our way we, shape ourselves up. It's all a form of art, but it's like it comes from somewhere. Someone had to be the creator. I had a really funny, conversation the other day, and this is kind of related about like how we do art. But like, think about the first guy who rode a horse. Like, was that a form of art? Why did he
Yeah,
do? Like, what did he think was going to happen? And how many other animals did he try to domesticate and jump on before
it's
he rode that horse?
yeah, and made it some form of art. I don't know. He probably got booted a few times.
I'm just thinking about that, and that's just like it's the exploration into the unknown. The first person to ever like eat certain things, certain berries in the woods. How many of those guys died before the other person realized they can eat certain things?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
kind of like that with art, because so many artists before us have pushed the boundaries
yeah,
for us so that we don't have to push those boundaries. And I think we're at a very comfortable time in like history where, yeah, there's that cancel culture, there is censorship like we talked about in the last episode, but a
yeah,
lot of the artists before us had it a lot more challenging to push their art out there, because people weren't as accepting to what they were trying to sell, or you know
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
crazy,
I mean,
crazy.
it kind of goes like, you know, I do a lot of, I guess, positive music, and some call it Christian. It's and I consider myself, a Christian artist. Some call it, just positive energy, but it kind of goes to like, there was a church community that I was with, and I really wanted to. They got a hall, and I created my album, and I wanted to do this event in their hall, and they wouldn't do it because it wasn't the kind of music that they wanted to play in their hall at their church, even though there's no swearing in my music, and I identify as Christian music, they wouldn't play it because I thought, it's hip hop, you know what I mean? And it's just this like a struggle. I thought for sure that this was going to be a go, you know what I mean? Because like I've been part of this community for 20 something years, and they're going to jump on board with this. I probably should have asked before I just started creating a bunch of stuff to pound in their at their hall that never happened. But it kind of goes to that, almost like that conflict, like back in the day. It was difficult. You really had to just grind and grind, I guess, to make it, to make it on the top.
Well, they put you in a way. What you're saying is they kind of put you in a box and a stereotype of what they believed that music would be like.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of
absolutely.
a lot of people, when I first started making films and they seen any bit of violence in my projects, any bit of it, they would sum up my project as like, a slaughterhouse. There was no, artistic merit behind it. And
Yeah,
there's violence and there's like intensity in the projects, but a lot of it has emotional storylines or a positive message at the end of the day. There is even
absolutely.
like spiritual undertones.
Yeah,
And a lot of people wouldn't get past that because of, you know, a stereotype of what artists like me may have done before,
yeah,
or, how the movie is promoted. And it goes down to a lot of things. We talked a little bit about branding and how, we were just talking invisible art. This guy just sold. Let me tell you this. This guy, Italian
18,000.
artist, $18,000. He just sold an invisible sculpture.
Yeah,
Okay. Invisible sculpture, guys. It doesn't exist. He
That's
yeah,
sells you.
insane.
I'm about
I
to
love
start
it.
selling a whole house full of things that don't exist. Okay.
Yeah.
mean, people sell farts in a jar, so
True story, dude.
Farts in a jar,
Yeah,
the aroma of socks, like whatever you can think of.
that one I don't get. I guess the whole invisible art. I don't. You could try to wrap your head around it, but then at the end of it, you come up empty, literally, because you can't wrap your head around something like that. I mean, you're going to sell somebody something invisible. Do you hand it to them? I mean, really, do you go here? This is yours. Thank you for your money. I mean, what kind
Who
of
are we to
expression
judge?
is in that? I don't
But here's the
understand it.
thing. Who are we to judge?
I
Because
know, I know. It's
I mean, I don't know the full story
it's
of this Italian artist, but let's just put it this way. What if this Italian artist is also giving us some backstory? What if he's telling us what he's giving you is the most beautiful thing you can ever dream of, and it's your dream?
yeah,
And he puts a price tag behind it to
yeah.
validate its reality.
What
Now,
if he's what if he's blind? What if the artist is blind?
yeah, that could be a thing. But
It's
what if he is such a good
it's
storyteller that his story is worth selling that vision? You ever hear about it? Like, there's like, what are they, the dirty car salesman that could sell you a total junker. He could talk a girl out of her panties without even thinking. I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of that situation.
It
The guy
seems it. Yeah,
basically talked whoever bought that artist right out of their panties and out of their pocketbook.
yeah. It's wild.
He's got a
I don't
wild
get that one.
imagination.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean, like,
mean,
have you ever been sold on a dream? I mean, let's just not to get political, but have we ever been sold on a politician's message because he has this story, this wonderful
eh,
story, glorious story that we are going to follow him into like the golden age of, I shouldn't even say those words together, golden
yeah,
age of America or golden age of anything grotesque, but
yeah,
anything selling that, we buy into that dream, that ideology. And I think a lot of people buy into the art just the same way that I
yeah,
told you. Some guy puts his dirty sneaker at an exhibit and a bunch of people stand around it and they're like, they have a whole story behind it
yeah.
because people want to believe in something more.
Well, that's what it
And
is. It's a story. I mean, look at what is it? Was it the shoes? I think it's all the shoes, right? In like the Holocaust, where they
yeah,
have them all piled up. I mean, there's a story behind that. There's a massive story behind that, a tragic story. But I mean, are they using it as art? I mean, because it is on display and people can go see
yeah.
all these shoes and
It's a tragedy, and that's the
Yeah,
important part. I mean, because like I said, art doesn't have a definition, but there are
no,
different forms of art. Like for example, that art in itself, it is very important. It is
yeah,
to set reality, like photography. Like, what's a great thing about having Stefan on later is he's a professional photographer. He's a very talented photographer, but photographers have a very important role in the world. They're documenting reality. And
yeah,
there's people to this day that are Holocaust deniers. They don't believe that the Holocaust even existed. And there's people out there that believe slavery did not exist in many parts of the world. They deny it, even
yeah,
though slavery is still prevalent around the world in other places. So
yeah,
it's like, it
absolutely.
is important to have videographers. It is
Yeah,
important to have writers. It is important to have those type of storytellers that are making sure that history is not forgotten.
yeah,
And then there's those people who are a little more abstract that get people to think about other things. They try to get people's emotions different ways. And then
yeah,
there's those that just they have a good time doing it and the audience has a great time receiving it. That sounds kind of dirty,
yeah,
but they have a great time interpreting the work that the artist never intended. It's
yeah,
simple as that. And I think a lot of people think too deep into what is art because there's artists out there that are extremely talented in what they do,
yeah,
but they didn't really put much intention behind what they're doing. There's a lot of artists out there that are incredible at painting a picture, but to them, it's just a picture. They move on
yeah,
to the next one.
absolutely. I kind of like you said, art could be very, very simple. You know what I mean? And we see it every single day through fashion and beauty, the cosmetic industry, the gyms. Go to a gym. I mean, go into a hospital. And the reason why I brought that up, like myself, I, walking past mirrors, I used to hate it because the way I walk. Period. And I originally started exploring this. Let me fix my legs. So I started seeing doctors, surgery after surgery after surgery, to try to fix my own being, myself.
Mm.
You know what I mean? In a cosmetic way, because that's what it was. It's a cosmetic way, but it's art. It's my own body that I wanted to make. I wanted to, I had this vision of how I want to see myself when I walk past mirrors and things like that. I know it might sound a little morbid, but it's the truth. And
Yeah.
we all do it. We hit the gym, makeup, beauty, all fashion. We do it on an everyday basis, and I don't think some people even realize it.
It's a whole facade too, because there's applications on our phones. I don't know if you guys ever really dabbled around with the apps that are on your phones when you take a picture of yourself. There's like slimming tools. Like
Yeah,
when people take pictures, and you never see that thing like where you see a person, you see a girl, and she doesn't quite look like the picture
yeah,
that you sent or
absolutely.
posted online, and you're like, wait a minute, what was that? It's because they have slimming tools and different type of, Photoshop. I mean, lighting does wonders. If anyone
Yeah,
knows anything about filmmaking, every actress can tell you lighting could make the best of you or the absolute worst.
yeah,
So, and those are how you want to view yourself, but how you want the world to view you as well, even if it's not true. And do we hate them for that?
mhm,
No, it's how you want to be viewed and how you want, to view yourself, even if it's not necessarily true.
yeah,
And who am I to judge
yeah, yeah,
what that art
absolutely.
form really is?
For real, for real. You're not lying. I saw a girl. She looked like Halle Berry, and then turns out she didn't look like that in real life. She looked like a demon. I was scared. I had to run away. I didn't think I was gonna get away. But that's a joke. But yeah, for real. There's so many tools out there, and like people use Chat GPT now, and the AI is starting to look more realistic. And like
Yeah.
I think it's cool when you use it for fun, but when you start using it and making money and tricking people and all this stuff, is like, is that really art?
Listen, my dad's old school. I just got to bring it up because you brought up AI. My dad's old school, and any video that comes out, he'll be like, "Did you see that video?" And I'm like, which one? And it's like there was a video of like a dog grabbing babies out of a pool with like two hands, and, like picking them up with his paws, and he's like, incredible
Yeah.
stuff. Or like there was a giant wave that like flipped over like a cruise ship twice. Like the
Yeah.
cruise ship was spinning, and he's like, I don't know how anyone survived. And I'm like, Dad, it's AI. He's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not. What you
Yeah.
fucking talking about? I'm like,
True
"Dad,
story, man. True
it's
story.
AI. I said it's definitely AI, Dad. But it's like
Yeah.
because it is like what you're saying, it does look so real.
Yeah.
And who would know? Like I see those funny pranks all the time where like guys like, there's a bunch of people running in your car right now. Or a kid, like it shows like 10 people busting some guy's car, and it's like it's just AI.
Yeah.
Took a picture of his car or a video of his car and like had like people running into it somehow.
And it's getting better and better, man. If you watch some of them videos, man, I mean, and it doesn't seem like it took too long, because some of the videos now that are AI, you don't even know. Like, I think it was the other day I was watching a video and I literally had to watch it a few times because I'm like, this is fake. You know what I mean? And that's scary. That's scary, man. When, it looks so realistic. I mean, the
And how do you
level of trickery behind it is wild, man. And a lot of people are being fooled, period. Love you, Dad. You're one of them.
love you? I'm just saying, like, but even in that sense with that AI, and we brought it up before with like music and writing, which I'm very against with the writing aspect. What do you feel as far as like art forms that are totally generated by art or AI? I mean,
I think you could use it to get a good idea if you want to work towards selling art. Like you can use it as a tool to help you get better. But when people start, like I had this guy on Instagram go, hey, yo, could you promote my page? I'm doing AI art. And I looked at his page, all of it was AI. I was like, do you create any of that? Like,
no,
you
he puts in a prompt.
You put it in a prompt. And
it's a sad thing because it's coming from, you got to understand. I know, like we talked about influence in past episodes, how we all truly are influenced by someone that came before us or an idea or even a thought. But the idea of AI is it's literally pulling from what exists out there on the web.
Exactly.
So like it's pulling pieces of one logo. Like for example, if I was to ask AI art to create me a logo that used a particular symbol and a particular look, it will pull pieces from other things that have worked in that calibration and like put it together.
Yeah.
And like to me, that's
it's wild.
It's cheap.
That leads into an interesting thing that I had a conversation with someone, and I was like, yeah, I want my art to be original, and then he was like, no art is truly original. No idea is truly original if you really think about it. And I was like, dang, that kind of hits home, because like I may do this comic book and then they're over here like, oh yeah, I'm the first person ever who did this, like that situation. I did a comic book, but maybe before that someone was like writing little stories in comedic ways. Wouldn't that be a comic book? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it is true. I believe like a lot of things have been said before and done before in different ways, but I think a lot of things have been done in different ways. Like,
yeah,
for example, like how many iterations of Superman or Spider-Man or Batman have we seen? Many. However, every time I see it, it has a different kind of tint on the lens. It has a different feel. I can tell you right now, the new Superman isn't like the old Superman. No. Or like the one that was before it. It was totally, tonally different. It felt different, but the story was the same. It's the same story, but
different vision of them.
A totally different vision. That's the way I kind of feel about, things that have been done before. Like how many times are they going to do Nosferatu or Dracula or Wolfman or the Invisible Man?
Yeah.
Every time I've seen them, I can tell you right now, though, let's just talk about the Wolfman movie that just came out. That is A1 capital dog shit. I don't know what they were thinking. It was bad. It was really bad. And I hate to hate on fellow filmmakers because I love the filmmaker, but this guy who did like the original Saw movies, Lee Winnell, I hated it. But I'm just saying, like sometimes the vision works, sometimes it doesn't, and makes you feel something different each time. And that's the way I view a lot of things. Like a lot of the lyrics we hear in music, they're literally they're replicating. Artists are replicating lyrics that have already been said in the same way, but with a different beat. And the new generation, they haven't heard the old music. So they think that the new guy made that shit, that he created that. Even the beats that you hear, some of the most famous songs are like reusing the same beat. And that kind of bothers me. But it's understandable because a lot of times those songs, they didn't last the test of time per se, where they carried on to the new generation. So people were like, you know what? I'm going to make this song hot again and put it out there. Unfortunately, a good thing is the artist is getting like a second life behind that song.
Yeah.
You know,
For
bad thing
sure.
is they're not going to recognize you for the new version. They're gonna think that, you know, who's that old guy? Who's that unk singing that song? Who's the unk singing the song? So yeah, art is a crazy thing, but there are gatekeepers when it comes to art, and the people that there's almost an elite space for certain artists. Have any of you guys ever felt like that? Like when you're trying to push your art, only a select few can be chosen. And I've felt like this for a long time with filmmaking, where I had to create my own platform because to get my movie out there, if it didn't have name recognition or it didn't have a certain budget or even the same certain format with like 4K or whatever, I couldn't be accepted in certain arenas to showcase my film.
Yeah.
And, you know, doesn't matter how good it looked, didn't matter how much talent was behind it. The only thing that held it was you don't have the criteria, like, you know. And I felt that way about a lot of different forums throughout my life. And
no, I definitely I feel like that as an artist, like, you know, and I think I've always felt like that. And then I can't kind of like I got to a point in my head where I was like, if I'm gonna make it and somebody's gonna hear my music, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna keep pushing it. I'm gonna do my best to get it out there. You know, I guess it's got to fall on the right ears because it seems to be that way. You know, or you put out a song and it goes viral. You know, like Post Malone. I think we said that back, and he was on SoundCloud and blew right up, and he was noticed from one day to the next. And I guess that's like my thinking nowadays is that if the right ears are going to find you, then you got to be producing something for them to find you. So as long as you keep producing and you keep pumping stuff out, you're in the pot. You know what I mean? I guess if you're in it, there's always that chance. You know?
yeah,
I totally agree too. And from a comedy standpoint, I would look at flyers and stuff and be like, why is that comedian on there? They was not that good. But the inverse to that is that they weren't that good during like an open mic or something. And I'll go to a show and be like, oh, that was really good. I really enjoyed myself. I laughed. So I agree. But then there's like an inverse to that too. Like why not me if I was the funniest or I have a great movie or great writing? Why not me? Sometimes it's just not your time.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
Why not me, Danny? You hearing that?
That's it. Yeah,
Why not me?
Why not me? That's the next album. Sweet.
So I don't want to. I want to hold too much.
We get royalties for that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was my original. It's original.
So we don't want to hold up too much before we bring on the guests, but we got this gentleman. I used to do a podcast named The Thursday Exchange with this guy. He's a cinematographer. He's a professional photographer. He's a writer. He's a sculptor. He's a woodsman. He's a gardener. He's a painter. I don't know. He does a lot of shit. He's a chef. He's transformed his body. He's done it all.
He's Leo.
Without any further ado, welcome the talented Stefan Baumann.
Yo.
Hey, Stefan.
How are you?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
I don't know if you happen to be in the back room listening to some of the conversation so far.
Yeah.
If you have anything you want to add to the equation about what art is to you.
I mean, it's certainly not sniffing farts out of jars, but you know. Went on a couple of little tangents there. I mean, what is art to me? It's art is a lot of things to me. It's a passion, it's a compulsion, it's I don't know, like it's a way for me to express different ideas, to try different styles, to put myself into different states of mind. Like these are kind of like very chaotic and colorful like images that you're showing right now. And then I'm also like I originally started just doing pencil and drawing art. And now I do wood carving is a big thing that I'm doing. I mean, even as I'm talking to you, I'm working on something. So, you know.
Good
Um
stuff.
yeah, it's like this guy I was just making earlier today and yesterday. It's like a little I don't know, a little fat dude.
It's good work, man. It's good work.
Thank you.
Maybe
But
he'll have some invisible art that he can
So
sell.
what does art do for you when you're doing that type of art? You know, like what are you thinking about? What is inspiring you to create that guy that you have in your hand, that guy with that belly right there, and why?
partly it's honestly a practice for me is like I know that a lot of the stuff that I make is very good. And like objectively, it's like I have talents and stuff like that. I'm not trying to like sound cocky. It's just I've worked at it for a long time. But I always know that I can get better at it. And I'm not going to get better just by visualizing it. I'm going to get better at it by doing it. And that means, you know, occasionally getting a really awesome one like that black head that I was holding in the one picture. Like I'm very proud of that one. That took me like probably 3-4 weeks. That's a solid piece of oak. I mean, I started off with chainsaw on it, went to an
Yeah.
angle grinder down to chisels, and then I even blowtorched the whole damn thing to make it black, and then I like polyurethaned it. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it,
Good
and
work.
you know, thank you. And it's very physical work, and there's a lot of stuff that I make where I'll start doing it, and then I'll chop off the guy's head by accident, or I have a sleep disorder, so I fall asleep while drawing, and all of a sudden you'll see like a random line going across the middle of a sketch that I've been working on for the past 2 hours, and it's like,
Eraser real quick.
Absolutely.
well, it depends on what the medium is. If
What's
it's paint, it's a little hard.
what's
But
your like when you are creating, what's the frame of mind you're in when you do create your best work? You know, what frame of mind are you in? You know, because that's people could be in different stages, you know, of thought or depressions or whatever when they're creating, and they could create their best. So, what's yours?
it's kind of complicated with me. Like there are different times that I've done certain types of art that were directly related to how I was feeling. Um, especially like when I was younger, before I even really understood what art was. Like when I was probably in elementary school, I went through a lot of bullying and a lot of just stuff that really it got to me. And I always was a kid who was drawing something from the time that I could pick up something to draw with. And when I look back at the artwork from that period of time, like I look at the tone and the darkness and the violence of it, and like and how like angry and somewhat scary it is for like a little 6-year-old to be drawing stuff like this, and you're like, whoa, is he going to be on a watch list? Kind of thing. But it was my way of
That's
expressing my emotion. Honestly, like it felt
yeah.
that. Like I honestly raised a few eyebrows. I'm not gonna lie. And looking back at it, it's painful for me to look at. But it was my way of releasing that emotion. And then over time, it became less about being a release of just that emotion. And in a way, it's a release of emotion for me now. But it's also it just brings me a sense of quiet in my mind now. It's no longer just a source of running away from what's dealing with me. It's a matter of I want to create something that I think is beautiful that I want to share with somebody else, or something that's provocative or interesting. And I kind of like the process of learning the hard way. I mean, I tend to do that anyways in my life. I tend to learn lessons the hard way.
Yeah.
Usually through some sort of injury or something. But I don't know. It just it gives me a sense of quiet in my mind, and it gives me a sense of I'm producing something and getting better and better at it. It's like a type of meditation almost. I'm not sure how else to put it.
It's good. It's
That's
good.
I mean,
yeah, that's really understandable. A lot of people go through it and like bullying, some type of trauma, and then art can be the release. But I had a question kind of towards that because before I was going to say, how did you find out you could do art? But you kind of explained it, right?
Yeah.
So I was going to say, do you still see it as a release necessarily, or did it start to transform into something else and you were like, wow, this is really art, this is what I'm doing? Did you have that moment of realization or anything like that?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know exactly when it happened, but I know that, when I was younger, it was all about release. It was all about just, I liked to draw and I was very angry and I had a lot of stuff going on that I had to deal with. And that was the way that it came out of me because I didn't want to talk about it, or that's just the way it happened. But the sensation of like focus, like I can listen to a lecture or listening to an entire audiobook series while I'm working on my artwork, and it helps me to focus on what I'm listening to. Like I quite often have Netflix playing in the background, but I'm not watching the screen. I'm literally just choosing the shows based on the dialogue that they have because it's like listening to an audiobook for me. And so when I start going into the zone with my artwork, I kind of just lose all track of time. And then I kind of have that background chatter to, just to keep my mind like stimulated a little bit. But I've also done it in complete silence, and it's now it's a choice of whether I want it to be a release or it's just something that I'm passionate about, honing my craft and learning new things, because I like novelty. I like to learn new things. I like to try things that I have not done before. I like to fall flat on my face with it and do it over and over until I start to get good at it. And then once I finally get to a point where I feel like satisfied with it, I either become extremely passionate about it or I get bored and then I move on to the next thing. And I might come back to it later. It's a challenge for me, and it's a way of me to keep my mind sharp and to stop also from listening to a lot of the negativity in my head. It gives me a way to not listen to my self-criticism or feelings of loneliness or things like that. It just gives me a sense of quiet.
That's good. It's like as long
Good
as I've known
stuff.
you, I've always known you like you always you're brought back to that passion of whatever new art form you're working on. And you're like, yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited about it. I'm like, every time I talk to you, I'm like, it seems like you're picking up a new trade. And I'm like,
Yep.
And you're excelling in the trade. I know a lot of people too. Like when we were saying, what is art? It could be total trash. You're coming out with quality work.
Thank
You're
you.
putting the time into it, but you're doing this chaotic balancing act between many different art forms, which is it's like being ambidextrous. There's so much, you're using your feet, you're using your hands, you're doing it all. You're
Do you
juggling with
remember
all.
do you remember a movie back in the 90s with Danny DeVito called Renaissance Man?
Oh yeah,
I've
classic.
always identified with that because it's like I used to always get so angry at especially art teachers, but also career teachers, anybody who'd be like, no, you have to pick a niche, especially in photography. They're like, you have to pick a specific niche. You're not going to be able to do all these different things. You're going to be too distracted. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I have ADHD.
That makes sense. It makes total sense.
I totally
You know-
relate to that.
I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's diagnosed or not, but I'm pretty damn sure I got it.
for real. Like I've been told, like if you're
That's
doing
it.
content creation on social media, they're like, "Yo, you got to find a niche." But I'm like, "But I like this too."
Yeah,
Like
and it
I
depends
want
on
to
your
get
mood and the day too. Like
exactly.
I
Nobody
legit
really
was.
gets it.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good.
I legit was scrolling through Facebook yesterday and I saw somebody who made like a giant Jaws like statue of like the Jaws coming out of the ocean, like with the big open mouth. in front of their house out of a giant snowbank, and I'm like, oh fuck, I want to do ice sculpture. Like that's how it happens with me. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to try that.
Yeah. I mean, that's I
What do
admire
you
it.
do with your what do you do with your art? You know, what do you see yourself doing with all of your finished products? You know, when you're finished, what's your long run?
Well, I would like for them definitely not to be all piled up in closets and boxes and stuff like it is kind of now, because I live in a studio apartment right now, just economics being what they are. So I
Yeah.
don't really, and this is a temporary spot where I'm going to be staying because I'm going to be moving again probably within the next few months, but I'm not sure here. Again, my life is chaos apparently. I'm not sure where I'm moving next, but um, I like to give them away a lot of times, especially like with my digital art, like whether it be, video and photography, especially. I love to just share it online. I don't care if people like use it or whatnot. Like I prefer the recognition for it, and if they're going to make money off of it, then yeah, please send me some. But I like to just put it out there for people to see, and if you like it, great. If you don't, all right. I had fun making it, and but I'm
Yeah.
always open to suggestions on it because it's like if there's something that I can do to make it better or to improve it, I want to know. And then I'm going to make it my mission to like tackle that problem and to get better at it. But yeah, I guess I give a lot of it away. I would ultimately love to sell more of it. Um, I think I need to have, and I guess this goes to the ADHD thing part of it, is I think I need like a partner who's good at the business end of it because I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, pretty squirrels, you know. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I in the same situation when it comes to art is I love to create it, but I hate to market myself. And a lot of people will say, you market yourself wonderfully. And I'm like, I barely on social media. Like I'll make a post like every few days. Like that's like there's people that have like all their mediums, like they're blowing them up everywhere. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do
a
you get
lot of the stuff
viewers?
I'm sharing is
Yeah.
other people's stuff half the time that I'm just fascinated by their work. I'm like, here, look at what they're doing. It's cool.
They made it,
Right.
So with that chaotic thing,
That's
we're
it.
talking about the chaos of art and we're talking about, what is art. Do you think that we would value art in the same way if it were made by happy, balanced people with that were less chaotic?
Yes, because I think that art is different for each artist.
But
There
when
have
you
been
think about
many.
a lot of the artists out there, you're thinking about the Van Goghs, right? You're thinking
Yeah.
about a lot of the ones that are known out there, like the classics. We were talking. We named a few throughout the episode here.
Hmm.
Their work lives on because of how chaotic it was produced and how I guess their story transcended the art that they created.
Yeah.
Even if their art wasn't that great. Opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, exactly. And it ultimately comes down to opinion too. It's like I know this is sacrilege to say, but like I've never been, and I understand the skills because I've tried imitating some of his art, like Picasso. I personally don't like the style that much, and I know some people be like, oh, you can't say that, but to me, a lot of it looks kind of like I don't know, drunken squiggles. But I've done plenty of them myself, like that are not good. But I I don't know if that's really. I kind of went off on a tangent on that one, but as far as like Van Gogh and stuff like that, I think having agony has a certain impact on your artwork for sure. I don't know too many artists who haven't had some sort of hardship that has impacted their work. But I think you can use it to transcend it as well and to show your appreciation of life by trying to create things that make people happy.
And talking about that with people being happy, when you showcase your work to people, what is like the general, I guess, conversation about your pieces or your photography or name it?
I mean, it's usually like you do that too. That's usually the initial reaction, but I I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I like praise. I think most artists would be lying if they said that they didn't, or they're just not aware that they like it. But I've never been somebody who's like really hated my work. I've been disappointed in something that I've made, but it's when I show it to people, I like seeing their eyes light up, and I like the people going, "Ooh!" Like the sense of wonder. Like if somebody's a magician, it's like you're doing something that they objectively cannot do themselves, and they're impressed by it. Just like if they were to do something that I can't possibly do, I'd be fascinated by it as well. It's um it's a way of showing your appreciation for others, and I think it also makes a way of me feeling accepted in groups that I would not always be accepted in, because people realize like there's more to me than meets the eye.
Wow, that's interesting.
It
What
Yeah,
was
it
that?
seems like you got so many different things that you're into. So like when you start to I guess what do they call it, like plateau? Do you just typically do you ever just slow down, or do you just jump to the next thing? Because you do have many different art forms.
I ebb and flow on a couple of ones that I go back to frequently. Photography is one, drawing and
Yeah.
painting and wood carving. Those are kind of like, and sculpting in general. Those that was my little stint as an aerial yoga instructor.
There he goes. You're going
I
back,
was
man. You're
waiting.
going back to
I
it.
was waiting for you to just see.
I forgot about that shit. Yeah, and, like I mean, I still do it. I mean, it feels great on your back. And I've always been a bendy bugger, but so, even when I was fat, I was always very flexible, and I don't know if it's because I got short legs and long arms or what, but it seems to work. So,
You hear
but
this, ladies? He's single. He's
but
available.
And flexible.
and apparently built like an orangutan.
The logistics of this scene are quite amusing. Just to get like 3 lines.
Oh my. I definitely earned some drinks tonight. That's ridiculous. You sure you don't want this back there?
I think it's a good idea.
That thing feels
Wait.
horrible. I'd rather not. It feels like you probably spiked
Stand up and
up
do
my
like
ass.
it looks like you're giving him an animal or something.
Is that better?
That was some of Stefan's work behind the scenes of Mantra. Jack of all
my
trades.
God.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it.
Like, I think that's why I like the filmmaking stuff that we've done so much, is because it's I get to really like experiment in all the different things that I like to do, from shit that I haven't tried to stuff that I've just learned along the way. I like coming in every day and being like, how are we going to tackle that problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like doing the same
Sure.
shit over and over.
Yeah.
Well, even if you do, let's just say like you've picked an art form and you do work on it over and over again. Like I'm similar to you because I don't only do film, but
Mhm.
the one thing is every experience feels different because you learn from what you've done before, and your
Yep.
team changes and the environment changes behind it. So like it's always good to pick up new skills and to like build your skill set behind it. But I often too find myself like, if you get stuck in one thing, we talked a lot last night in a previous episode about, using the resources you have. And I'm noticing from, this conversation, a lot of the art you're doing, it's like you can do them solo, but you're
Mhm.
also able to work in groups when you can
I
to
love
also
it.
contribute to the team,
I love to collaborate. Like that's one thing like with filmmaking is, when I worked on the first film before I met you, I had a sit down session like I did with you on the other movies, where I literally had a sketchbook open and we went through ideas of like what the guy wanted for different images, and I would give a quick little like sketch out to kind of get a rough idea of like what I was thinking, to see if like my mind was picturing what he was thinking. And then if it started to sound like they were meeting along the same lines, I was like, I knew I was going the right direction. And then to be able to turn something like that into something that makes someone else's art form work, like you're very good at writing stuff, like Charles, like as far as like storylines and like screenplays and stuff like that.
Appreciate it.
I can write essays and things like that, and I've done poems and stuff. I don't enjoy the act of writing. I'm objectively okay at it, but it's not something that I'm like, ooh, let me get behind the keyboard. Like I'm like, yeah, fuck that. And and so like I always respect that and like the organization that goes through all of that. But I enjoy being able to contribute like what I do in a way that is able to, especially with photography, like a lot of times when I was doing corporate gigs, I'm photographing stuff that I'm not really interested in, but I'm making it into a challenge for myself. How can I make this thing that is boring as shit look interesting and satisfying to me so that when I hand it in, I feel proud of what I gave you and I know
Yeah.
it's going to help you.
Positive contribution.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know what is funny? I remember you had this conversation before about, doing the gigs and being bored while you were there and creating all this unique stuff at like someone's wedding, even still. But with all that said, with all the different art forms you currently do and you're working on, what have you not done that you're like, you know what? I need to get into this. I need to dive into this new art form. You can't have done it all. I know you haven't done it all that you want.
No, not at all. Not by
You're
far.
a dreamer. You're a dreamer, Stefan.
I'm proficient in a lot of forms. I'm not expert in a lot of forms. There's a couple of forms that I really excel at, and then a lot of ones where I just kind of like, I like the experience of seeing how it feels, seeing how it affects me. But as far as, can you repeat your question? Because now I'm forgetting what it was.
It was just the idea of all the different art forms that you haven't kind of experienced yet that you would love to try and like to, dip your feet into. Unless you've done them all.
No, not at all. I definitely want to get more into metalworking and stone carving. I've done a little bit of stone carving on a small scale. I've started doing some chainsaw carvings and stuff, but just based on where I live, I ended up returning the chainsaw just because it's too noisy. But I would like to have the opportunity to like really make some big ass sculptures, like the stuff that I quite often post on like Instagram stories, things that I see other people making. I want to do like bigger and bigger pieces of art. The better I get at it and the more confident I am in it, I tend to want to make things more and more large and just impressive.
Large and in charge. Impressive. Right. And like I said, he's single.
That's
as I sit here with a knife in my hand.
Is it scary? Is it scary jumping into a new art form, or is it
sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes it could be scary. Sometimes it can be a rush. Like you're like getting like really good vibes off of this. You're excited. Sometimes
comedy
it's like in the middle. Yes,
comedy. That's one that I've been aspiring. Like, I'm impressed that you do it because I have not worked up the nerve to do it yet, and I listen to stand-up comedy literally every day of my life, several hours a day. Like it got me through the pandemic, to be perfectly honest.
A lot of people through the pandemic, probably.
But like I would have lost my damn mind if it were not for that. And I want to do that. So yeah, that would be one thing that I have not done that I really, really want to do.
And it's funny is I've been trying to talk Stefan off that ledge for a long time because there's some stories that Stefan tells, even because I feel like the best comics come from the heart. They tell like personal stories that everyone can relate to, or there's stories so over the top that no one can relate to that are just hilarious. Like, what would you do in those situations? I really hope someday I get to sit in the audience, get some hot wings, and watch a Stefan Baumann performance with Benny and you guys co-headlining.
That'd be dope. He does have some wild stories. I'll tell you one story. When I first met Stefan, he was fairly new to doing cinematography, and I'm fairly new to doing acting. And there was like a lot of stuff going on and stuff like that, a lot of mess. And then I just wanted to check on him and see like why is this thing not working out? And he showed me how cinematography really works. So he's really knowledgeable and he knows a lot of stuff. And I learned a lot from him and you, Charles, of course, a lot of people that you work with. But it was really eye opening. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know like if you move the camera inch, it's like off. If you do this, it's off. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
And those are those collaborative experiences. As every time I do it, like I learn something new from the people around me, that even if they're working below me or they're working alongside me, I learn from them too, of like what to do or what I can improve on myself, or things I've been doing wrong the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say that the best lesson you can learn as an artist is failing and you know, picking yourself back up and figuring out ways to not fail and succeed. Like Stefan was saying, how many times he's, you know, fell flat on his face or broke a sculpture or, you know, made it too thin or whatever he was doing. He had to start from scratch. And sometimes that's a lesson learned in itself. So those collaborative projects are great.
And then there's certain things that I'm sure you have certain motifs in your movies or in your rap music or in your comedy. Like there's going to always be certain themes that you always come back to. And like, for me, faces has always been something that has pervaded through all of my visual artwork, is like creating faces and creating elaborate patterns. And then also trying to find simplicity in chaos. Like, you know, if there's a lot of like background, like architecture, there's a lot of lines intersecting and creating like all these crazy different designs, but you isolate down to one tiny section, you all of a sudden you have this really pleasing image that you don't know what the hell it is, but you just know you like it.
Yeah, you know what's funny you brought that up is there was a picture, we were talking about the Holocaust, you know, shoes sculpture, but there's a famous picture of 9/11. It's just a woman walking down the street with her hair blowing, and like you can barely see the background, but you know it's complete utter chaos behind her. There's smoke, she's covered in dust. It's a simple picture, but it's so iconic, and it's, I don't know, it brings you back to that moment. So I understand what you're saying, but it's chaotic, but it's beautiful at the same time.
And something else somebody else pointed out to me when I was at photography school in my portfolio work is I like to do a lot of like landscapes and also cityscapes where there are no people or animals or anything moving around, where it's just the environment of itself. And I didn't even realize it. And I noticed that I was, you know, somebody commented like, you appear to be very lonely in your work. And it's true. Like I've struggled with loneliness in my life, but it's like a lot of times things will come out in your artwork that you yourself don't even realize. And it's true. Like when I started looking back through a lot of images, like I would get these images of places that were always busy, looking like ghost towns, like Grand Central Station or Hoboken, or, you know, just like a busy highway. Like it would just look deserted because I would just sit there and wait until that image would show up.
That's
and
cool.
It creates some beautiful, beautiful art.
Yep.
You know, there's art behind everything.
Yeah.
So now we're almost at the hour mark, and I would love to go on. Is there anything you want to leave us with, Stefan? A moment of inspiration of what you got going on next? Is there any plans?
Right now is a little bit of a chaotic time of planning for me right now. I'm trying to figure out what my next steps are. I'm probably going to be making another jump. Like I tend to make kind of wild jumps from like, you know, sometimes to different continents or to different cities or to different careers completely. And I'm in the researching and kind of planning phase, and we'll see where the spinning top lands.
Wherever it lands, we know that an artist will land with it.
Yes,
absolutely.
100%.
Sure.
So thank you so much for joining us, Stefan. I know we'll have many more conversations to come, but this was awesome.
Definitely, man.
It's good to see you guys.
Appreciate
And where
the
can
time.
people
Man.
follow you? Where can they
Huh?
follow you?
If you go on Instagram, it would be at stephbphoto.arts. And if you went on YouTube, it would just be Steph B Photo. And my website is stephbphoto.com.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right,
Sweet.
brother. Thank you so
All right.
much.
It's great seeing you, Stefan.
You too, guys.
You too,
Thanks.
man.
Well, that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of What is
sure.
Art from the Blank Dive. You hope you guys join us for episode 6. What do we got on episode 6, bro?
We got is this legal?
Oh, is
It's gonna
it?
be, I don't know. I think we broke a few laws in this episode, but I will tell you, is it legal? Is it not? Who knows? Is it art?
You have to find
We're gonna
out.
find out next episode. Thank you, guys. See you next Thursday. Remember to like, subscribe, share,
Everywhere,
take care.
for sure.